Disclaimer. This video is, sadly, the last of my school projects I'll be uploading to YouTube, but for the other people that view my channel, not you people in the classroom, the people that are watching this on the internet somewhere in the world, if you wish me to do more things like this, I might consider as a side project to what I usually do. And another thing, I strongly recommend you do not pause this video. I'm looking at you, Teach. Watch it all the way through before asking questions.
This is your only warning.
That's not the point, though. You're here to learn, so let's learn. Normally, I'd have a pretty sweet intro to go with these videos, but considering that I don't want to take too long presenting this particular subject for all the wonderful people in the classroom this was first premiered in, I'm better off getting into it. So, today's topic is a special and definitely obscure World War II military unit that was used only so much to defend the homelands they occupy. For a little while, the Japanese soldiers of the Imperial Japanese Navy were rather stuck on what to do. So, instead of preserving their people, they decided to follow the honor-bound way of the kamikaze and came up with this succulent suicide swimmer sector of the submersible savages known as the Fukuryu suicide divers. This aquatic assailant is certainly a soldier lost to time, isn't he? This is the official Imperial Japanese Navy's Fukuryu suicide diver. Fukuryu meaning crouching dragon, which fits his role rather nicely, you know, because he's crouching underwater. The Fukuryu diver unit was an entire unit constructed around being a stealthy way to defend the harbors of their homeland by traversing the harbor floor with this massive explosive on a stick to shove into the hull of an allied ship and basically ruin everyone's day. The first 1,000 suits were ordered on August 1945, and 8,000 more would soon be ordered to help build a much bigger section of this unit to use in defense. In a way, they were like underwater torpedoes, where torpedoes wouldn't be viable. So there's some positives. The suit itself is the most rudimentary diver suit you'll ever see, being made rather cheaply even for its time. The diver was equipped with this specific suit, yes, this thing, and it contained very simple systems like a caustic lye air filtration system that would absorb the stale air to be replaced by fresh oxygen, supplied by two 3.5 liter oxygen tanks as seen there. This air supply would be able to provide at least 6 hours of air to the diver in question, and up to 10 if it worked very well. Air would be managed by a plate valve, this thing. Basically a pressure regulator valve, which is self-explanatory. Once the pressure is not in equilibrium, this engages until it reaches equilibrium again. That was a problem, though, and the problem was the lye could expose itself into the suit, considering how cheaply made it was, which was very bad for the diver himself, a very bad time for the diver indeed, as it basically killed him inside the suit among other hazards that will be noted in a moment. That, of course, is not the showpiece of the diver suit.
Look at this stud right here, yeah?
Now, isn't that a hunk or what? It's just me? Screw you. This is the explosive that the suicide divers used, a very standard piercing 33-pound TNT charge on the end of a 16-foot pole made from bamboo. These charges had a piercing tip, so it could be a breaching charge, so basically a pole charge. Yes, these are basically underwater pole charges. Only the problem was these things were contact explosive and not a proper detonation, and expected to destroy the person in the process. I'll put it this way. The unit, in its way, was a sentient, honor-bound sea mine, which sounds good on paper, but seeing the Google search results, it's clear people agree that this unit, while very interesting, ended up being not as effective as was planned. One site I found describes them this way, which might bring more clarity. The Fukuryu appeared never to have been deployed outside of the home islands. Their role in the final defense would have been suicidal, as was, to some extent, their training. Their equipment, a loosely fitting wetsuit, a clumsy helmet not unlike that of a deep-sea diver, bulky air circulation and purification tanks strapped to the chest and back and linked by a tangle of hoses, was most unsatisfactory. Essentially, their training was screwed from the start. The cost of the charge alone, it was difficult, All I can say is that I can't actually look up the cost of explosives, let alone a proper cost for all the chemicals to be combined properly. It's a bunch of science, and it's a bunch of time I just can't be wasting on not getting this project done. The closest guess for me is it had to be relatively inexpensive, otherwise the unit wouldn't have been requested to be mass-produced. The pole itself is free, because it's part of a plant that's pretty much native to Japan, and the suit, though, I estimated a cost of $230.82 per suit. In today's money, by the way, which I found by roughly estimating all the components via diagrams and Google searches. It's iffy. Training, however, was a part of the Navy unit, and they also used decommissioned suits, so that would be definitely negligible in terms of cost. Overall, though, the final cost for just the suits alone would come out to be $2,077,380 flat for the 9,000 total suits ordered with today's value of the United States dollar. Okay. What about after the war? You may be asking. Well, after the Second World War, the suicide diver unit miraculously became nothing. I wonder why. Oh wait, it's a suicide diver unit. The concept killed itself too, you know. Poor taste, I don't care. The fact that Japanese applied their kamikaze dynamic to a disposable, cheap replacement for sea mines is funny, but not funny. However, I do want to acknowledge that it was the year 1945, and pretty much all Axis powers were now starting to become the losing few. So much of this stuff would fall into obscurity anyway. Now, it shouldn't come to a surprise that this one very specific thing made for one niche purpose wasn't followed up with anything, because we have much better alternatives to something like this anyway. Even the actual self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, SCUBA, yes, that's the acronym. The apparatus itself has better alternatives than that very cheap, risky, basic versions I had during the time. The Fukuryu diver unit was a quick solution to a quick problem, and that was it. Other from that anticlimactic business, here's just a couple more facts to fill in that empty, hungry void of a mind you possess. The way they provided these mines, mind you, was through placing them across the sea floor. They were held into place by strings, so they were readily available to the divers underwater for added stealth. Another little fact is there were plans for the divers to have underwater bunkers as well. Concrete pillboxes that were isolated to hold up to 18 men and hide them from any form of detection. There would be more here, but the general consensus agrees upon the whole unit being rather ineffective and blah blah blah. It's not a surprise that there's really nothing documented here. Anyway, well, now you hopefully know a little bit more about a very niche, obscure, and totally useless subject that will. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed listening in on my ramblings about a suicide diver regime that never made it past their harbors. Or, at least I hope you listen at all. Don't think I don't see half of you doze off in this class. Seriously, ask me. I'll pick out the offenders in an instant. Otherwise, thanks for watching. There's my sources over here. Hello. If you like this, check out my other fun educational meme video things on this YouTube channel, Venetton Official. And if you like that, then consider checking out my music. I don't just dance and all that fun stuff. Seriously, do it.
Subscribe to Venetton